In this session, we're working with Collapse-O-Matic, a plugin for WordPress that allows you to collapse and expand various sections of content on your page. We have 4 basic flavors down below. In this first one, our title says, click here to expand or collapse this section. When we click it, it expands out the content so we can see what's here. I'm working with only text here, but you can work with links, images as well. In the second flavor, it says, click here to expand this section. When I click that, my content appears and my title is switched out, and it now says, click here to collapse this section. In my third flavor here, we are pre-expanded and our title says, click here to collapse this section. So if we click that, we are collapsed. And then finally, we have the title here as an H2 tag. And when we click it, we get our content. So let's see the inner workings of this page and how Collapse-O-Matic works. So we'll use the nice shortcut here of edit page here on the top line of WordPress, and I'll click it. And here's the syntax for Collapse-O-Matic. It's really very simple. We start out with a left bracket, the word expand, a space, the word title, equal, our first quote, then what we want our title to be, our ending quote, our right bracket, our content, and then the left bracket, / the word expand, and right bracket. So that at its simplest is how Collapse-O-Matic works. And here's that flavor of Collapse-O-Matic in action. In our next example, we have the same syntax, expand title, our first title, then a space and the word swap title equals, and then within our quote marks, our second title. So this is the title that the end user is initially given with the word title. And then swap title is what the end user is given after they have clicked the expand icon, and they'll also see the content of the section as well. And here's this flavor of Collapse-O-Matic. I click it, notice our title change, and notice the title change again when we collapse. In our next example, after the expand and the title, we simply have the word expanded equal true, meaning that this section will start out pre-expanded. Here is this flavor of Collapse-O-Matic. Notice we start out pre-expanded, and when I click, we collapse. And here in our last example, we have expand, our title, then a space, the word tag, equals H2, which turned this into an H2 header. And here is this flavor of Collapse-O-Matic in action, where our title is an H2 tag that expands out with our content when we click it. You can add more than one attribute to a given shortcode. If we look at this one, we can see that we have the swap title attribute we had earlier, and we also have a new one here called rel class 1. The name class 1 doesn't really matter. You can put in here whatever you like within reason, but what I'm doing here is my first 2 sections here have rel class 1, and my second 2 sections have rel class 2, here and here. Now what this will do is that when I open up a section in a given class, it will close all the other sections of different classes. So if I click on a link in class 2 and I have class 1 sections open, those class 1 sections will automatically close. Similarly, if I have a class 2 section open and I click a class 1 section, the class 2 sections will automatically close. So that doesn't sound too confusing. Let's go see what this looks like in real life. So here we are at the actual page. Again, I've set the first 2 up as class 1 and the second 2 up as class 2. So let's open up the class 1s. And when I click a class 2, the class 1s automatically collapse. Similarly, if I open up my second 2, my class 2 sections, and then I click on to expand a class 1 section, it automatically closes the class 2 sections. And now that I've suggested the concept of having more than one attribute for each line of shortcode, I have added an alt tag to each one of these lines of shortcode. In this case, alt equal, and then the text that is in my title. And this is for accessibility reasons so that text-to-speech browsers can interpret that title by having alt text for it. So I have alt text for each one of my sections here. And all I've done is add the word alt, equal, and then I've copied the title within quotes after it. And that is how to work with Collapse-O-Matic.